You misunderstand one little word. How much difference could it actually make? And welcome back to Cliffieland. This is weekend country number 187 on our second attempt of cooking the food of every single country in the world. Tonight, we're up to the nation of Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan, an oddly shaped country located in Central Asia along what was once the Silk Road, is a doubly landlocked nation, say that 3 times fast, which means it is a landlocked nation surrounded by other landlocked nations, one of only 2 such countries in the world. It shares borders with Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Afghanistan, and you guessed it, folks, that means this is the last one of our Stan countries, which factors into how I was able to do what I did or not do what I did this time, but more on that in a minute. The food of Uzbekistan is very similar to that of its Central Asian neighbors. You're going to find a lot of dishes involving grains. Bread is central to the cuisine of Uzbekistan, as it is with so many of the countries around this region. We wound up cooking some great flatbread recipes for some of those other ones, so check those out. Also, you're going to find a lot of dishes involving mutton, lamb, and that's going to be in one of tonight's dishes. And all sorts of other grains. There are a lot of noodle dishes. There's a dish that is similar to a samosa, but we need to look and see how things all went last time, so let's see how that worked out before. Well, 5 years ago on the Global Cooking Challenge, I was having a difficult time trying to find yet another dish that would work for a Central Asian country, because those are harder to come by than you think, at least in the online world. So I only cooked and streamed across one night, and I made 2 dishes. I made an Uzbek Plov, and we served that with a vegetable salad, which was really great. Now, a little bit about Plov. You see, Plov, or you may know it as its variation of pilaf, is a layered dish involving rice and number of berries or fruits, usually lamb. There are plovs for all over this entire region, and they vary from country to country, from region to region, from home to home. People are very protective of their recipes, and they sometimes are very different. Now, we did one way back when we did the food of Uzbekistan, and if you want to see a plov done right that is super delicious, check that one out. If you want to see how things went badly, stick around here. But in any case, that one is so good that I wound up doing it not only, for the second go round of the videos, but I also made it for company no less than maybe 5 times, and each time everyone walked away with rave reviews, and that was really nice. That's not how it's gonna go this time. It has been years since I did a good plov, and I could have looked back at my notes then, but I'm not that smart. But right now, we're gonna see what go into tonight's 2 dishes. So first, for our grilled eggplant salad, we'll need 2 Asian eggplants. That's the long, thin kind. You can get the fatter Italian or Sicilian eggplants. In that case, you would need to salt them for 30 minutes and rinse them after. 1 red bell pepper, 1 garlic clove minced, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of vinegar, it can be red wine vinegar or white vinegar, the juice of half a lemon, 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika, 1 teaspoon of Aleppo pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of fresh mint chopped, and 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped. And then for our Uzbek Plov, we'll need 2 cups of long-grain parboiled rice. This is uncooked rice, we're going to be cooking it. 5 large carrots, coarsely grated, 2 large onions, sliced, 0.88 pounds or 400 grams of cubed leg of lamb, 3.53 ounces or 100 grams of lamb fat, 4 cups of vegetable or lamb broth. In this case, we're using water because we're out of vegetable broth. 1 teaspoon of peppercorns, 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds, 2 tablespoons of cumin seeds, and half a cup of barberries. Okay, you're gonna notice something in those ingredients, and that the plov called for parboiled rice. Now, I have seen parboiled rice in recipes for almost the last 10 years now, so you think I would know. But in my defense, some of those recipes called for cooked rice and some of them did not. And I misunderstood it, I googled, I whatevered, and I thought it meant 2 cups of cooked rice. What I did not realize that this recipe, they said parboiled rice. I googled parboiled rice, I thought it was supposed to be cooked rice, it was supposed to be just rice. And I didn't realize that I had made that fatal error until I was already halfway into the cook and it was too late. You're gonna see something that's something of an epic fail. The salad is really good, so stick around and let's see what happens when we get cooking. Slice the eggplant into 1/4 inch thick slices lengthwise. Salt and rinse if using Sicilian eggplants. You can skip this step if you're using Asian eggplants. Chop the pepper into about 6 large slices. Heat up a barbecue optimally and brush the eggplant slices and peppers with 1 tablespoon of olive oil, just to barely coat. Grill them on a barbecue, or in our case a grill pan. Note, eggplant cooks very quickly, so don't leave it and watch it carefully. When lightly charred, remove the eggplant and the pepper slices and allow them to cool. Meanwhile, make the dressing by whisking in a bowl the garlic, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, the vinegar, lemon juice, sweet paprika, Aleppo pepper, and salt. And when the eggplants and peppers are cool enough to touch, slice them into bite-sized pieces, toss them in the dressing, and add in the mint and parsley. Allow the salad to marinate for at least 1 hour and serve at room temperature. Since now we know what we did wrong, you won't want to cook your rice first. Preheat your oven to 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Decapitate 1 garlic head per guest. Sprinkle a teaspoon of olive oil on top and wrap in foil. Roast the garlic in a medium-hot oven for about an hour. The garlic flesh should be soft and brownish when done. Regarding the broth, the recipe suggests homemade vegetable broth, but we had to go with water. Soak the barberries in a little water, and into a spice grinder place the peppercorns, cumin seeds, and coriander seeds, and grind the spices to a fine powder. Prepare your workspace with the broth or hot water behind, and a large Dutch oven in front, and the ingredients on the side. Set 2 plates aside to reserve the meat and lamb fat. Melt the fat in the Dutch oven over a high temperature and use a potato masher or spatula to get as much liquid fat out as you can. Remove the remaining patches of fat and discard. Heat the lamb fat in the Dutch oven until it smokes. Don't let it burn though. Quickly fry the lamb cubes on all sides until nicely browned. You may have to do 2 batches. Reserve the meat and cover with foil. Heat the remaining fat in the Dutch oven and pour in the sliced onions, turning frequently until soft and light brown, about 6 to 8 minutes. Add the ground spices and mix well for 1 more minute. Add the grated carrots and cook for 3 more minutes or until the carrots are soft. Add the reserved meat and any meat juices that escaped, mix well and reduce the heat to medium hot. Add the 2 cups of rice and your 4 cups of hot broth. You can use water, but be sure it's hot, not cold. Cover and simmer over medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes. Turn frequently to make sure the plov does not stick at the bottom. When the rice is cooked through, add the drained barberries. Remove the lid and wait till all the liquid has evaporated, turning the rice regularly. Obviously that wasn't going to happen because of the mistake we made before. Serve piping hot with a garlic head for each guest. You can also bury the roasted garlic inside the plov after you add the broth and bring the pot to the table. Some cooks add a large hot pepper to each plate. Serve and enjoy. Okay, you saw the wet rice. That was disappointing. But that aside, it was very tasty. Let's talk about that plov. Yes, it was wet rice. It was not good. It was overcooked rice. No one wants to have that. That's my bad. And even in leftovers, there was really no way of remedying that mistake. So just don't make that mistake. But if it wasn't for that, it would have been really good because the lamb was good, the spices were great, the onions and carrots were delicious, and that garlic, which is the whole head of the garlic in there, which you just kind of squeeze the roasted garlic out and it becomes kind of like a creaminess inside the dish. That was really, really good. So I'm sure if I'd done it right, it would have been at least a 4 globes. But since I screwed it up so spectacularly by misunderstanding 1 stupid word, I'm gonna give that one 3 out of 5 globes. So sorry to all the Uzbek people of the planet. But let's talk about that vegetable salad because that was really something to cheer about. The eggplant was really delicious. That Asian eggplant, find it if you can't because it's not exactly the same as the Sicilian eggplant that at least around these parts are the most common eggplant you'll find. So check that out. The peppers were toothsome, the spices were great. At room temperature, it was just wonderful. I loved it so much. I was happy to make leftovers, and I'll happily make that for my next vegan fest that I'll be having here off camera, of course. So I am sorry, I apologize to the people of Uzbekistan. I would like to have done better, but forgive me. But that does it for all of Central Asia and the letter U. Next week we head out to the Pacific, paddle out to have the delicious food of the nation of Vanuatu. See you then. These are not my original recipes. Links to the original recipes and their authors can be found in the About section. If you have any thoughtful feelings or helpful suggestions about what I'm doing, feel free to sound off in the comments here. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when these videos are posted, and of course you can always follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Thanks for coming by. See you next time. Happy eating.